Hello everyone and welcome back to Freedom Through Confidence. My name is Ben, and in this video today I want to share with you how to journal for self-esteem. Now, journaling in and of itself is a very straightforward process. You get a notebook and a pen, or you jump on your laptop or your phone or tablet or whatever it is, and you just write down what you want to write for that day, for however long you want to write it. So the actual process of journaling is not difficult at all. So in this video today, I want to give you 5 very straightforward journal prompts that you can use to start to raise your self-esteem. And the point of these journal prompts is to help you to get to know yourself better and to get a firm grasp on who you are as a person and where your personal power is, because if you can start to empower yourself, then what you'll find is that your sense of self-esteem will continue to rise. So without much further ado, let's just jump into the very first journal prompt. So the first journal prompt that I want to share with you today is simply, what is your greatest strength? Now, for some people, this is going to be a very straightforward question to answer, and for other people, it's going to be a little bit less so. When it comes to identifying your greatest strength, it really can be anything from your ability to empathize with other people, or your determination to reach a certain goal, or really whatever it is that you think. But for those of you who might perhaps struggle with identifying what your greatest strength is now, I do have an alternative prompt instead, and that is, what is your greatest weakness and what can you do to turn it into a strength instead? Sometimes when you are suffering with low self-esteem, it's easier to find your weaknesses than it is to find your strengths. So with this journal prompt, the idea is to identify something that you believe is your greatest weakness, and then just start to actually think about what you could do to start to turn that weakness into a strength. So for me, one of my greatest weaknesses was my anxiety, and in order for me to turn that into a strength, I started to listen more to what it had to say and start to use it as a guidepost for potentially negative outcomes that could occur. And then with that in mind, I could then adjust my plan to make sure that I was avoiding those obstacles whenever possible, or if I couldn't avoid them, then I would create a plan for how to get over them instead. And that's what I'm talking about with this prompt here. So what's your weakness and how can you turn it into your greatest strength? And that brings us into the second journal prompt. So with this journal prompt, I want you to remember the last time you felt truly confident, or the last time that you felt at your most confident. And I want you to really give yourself a detailed sense of what that feeling was like. I want you to think about what was happening, where you were, what your thoughts were, how it felt in your body, and just create as detailed a picture as possible for yourself. And the question that I want you to focus on is, what could you do to experience more of that feeling? So if you have done the pre-work for this, which is actually remembering the last time that you were confident and what led up to it, what you were doing, how you felt, etc., as much details as possible, then answering the question of what you could do to experience more of that in your life should be pretty straightforward. Now, one of the things I want to make sure that you do in this journal prompt is to make sure that it is action focused on you. So it can't be that you felt confident because of something that was completely outside of your control. For example, feeling confident because your football team won their weekend match, because depending on the football team, that might be a one-off or it might be slightly more often, but it's not something that you can depend on for a confidence boost. So it has to be something internally focused. It has to be something that you can do, something that you can take action on to reach that confident state more often. Number 3 is, what is your dream? What is your ideal life vision, and what are you doing to actually work towards that? Now, we all have dreams, we all have a life vision, even if we perhaps haven't all sat down and formally written it out, which is absolutely not a prerequisite for having a functioning life vision. It can just sit up in your head and that's perfectly fine. But a lot of the time we don't actually work towards that. So with this journal prompt, I want you to understand what your life vision is and what you're doing every single day to work towards that. And if you're not actually working towards it, then I want you to be honest with yourself about that. And be honest about how you feel and how that makes you feel about yourself, the fact that you have this vision and maybe you're not working towards it in the way that you want to, or maybe you're not working towards it at all. And what this prompt will do is it will start to wake you up to the idea that you have these dreams and that you could be working towards them, but at the moment you're not. And also an understanding that if you were to start working towards that, you would be living in alignment with what you want from life. And when we live in alignment with what we want from life, then we're working from a place of self-acceptance. And self-acceptance is what will raise your self-esteem. So it seems like it's a few steps, but it all starts with this working towards your life vision. And that brings us to the fourth journaling prompt. And that is a very, very simple one, which is, what are you most grateful for in your life and why? Now, it might be your parents, it might be your siblings, it might be your children, it might be your significant other. It might be the house that you live in, or the car that you drive, or the job that you have. It doesn't matter what it is. Just write down what you are most grateful for and why you are grateful for that. Gratitude is one of those things that the more we bring it to the forefront of our mind, the more we stop taking for granted the amazing things that we have in our life that we just sometimes don't even see anymore. And this is a journaling prompt that I would encourage you to write again and again and again, focusing on the things that you are grateful for in your life. That sense of gratitude will over time help you to understand that your life might not be as bad as you think it is. And that can be a great stepping stone for moving forward and building up your sense of self-esteem to a higher level. And the final prompt is quite a deep one. It is something that I would encourage you to spend some time on and really think about. And when you're writing this one, don't censor yourself in any way. Just write as much as you possibly can without trying to consciously filter through what you're saying. Just write what comes to mind and speak from your heart, if you will. And the journal prompt is, what do you need to forgive yourself for in order to move forward with your life? A lot of our self-esteem can be tied up in blame and guilt and shame over things that have happened in our pasts that we are still fixated on and that make us feel like we are not worthy or that we are not good enough. And by identifying the things that we should forgive ourselves for, or the things that we need to forgive ourselves for in order to move forward in our life, that brings that into our conscious awareness. And if it is in your conscious awareness, then you can start to work on it. So if you need to forgive yourself because of some mistake that you made a year, a month, a day, even a few minutes ago, then identifying what that is and starting to work towards forgiving yourself for that mistake is going to help you tremendously in raising your self-esteem. So I will put all 5 of these journal prompts down in the description below. There are, of course, many more that I could share with you in this video, and it would make this video run on for days and days and days of various journal prompts you could use to start to raise your self-esteem. These are a few of my favorites, so I hope that you have enjoyed. I hope you're going to use them, and I hope that through the process of journaling, you will be able to raise your self-esteem in the same way that I was able to. So if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it. Make sure to leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section down below. And of course, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel as well. But otherwise, thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of this video. And I look forward to seeing you in more videos here on this channel very soon.